Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of AACRAO's Credential Chats. And I am super excited, and I know you will be too, to hang out for the next several minutes with Regina Middleton. Regina is the Assistant Registrar for Training and Professional Development at Texas Christian University. Regina, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And Regina, I am just so excited that your kind of story of what that you're going to be sharing with us actually starts with an article that was published in AACRAO. And
Yes.
actually, selfishly, I'm really excited because it was by some of my colleagues,
Yes.
Rebecca Jones and Ashley Hildenbrand. What happened there?
So, because I'm overtraining professional, so I'm always looking for resources and articles. And I ran across the article in ACRO that Rebecca wrote pertaining to the program that they are implementing at the University of Colorado and their Office of Registrars, which is issuing digital badges to student workers. And so I read it and I said, wow, I would love to bring that to TCU. So I reached out to them and they immediately called me back. We did a Zoom call. They walked me through the entire program. They even told me about you, Noah, but I wasn't ready for you yet. And
I'm a lot to handle. I'm a lot to handle.
and the rest has been history. I met with a couple of key people who are friends of mine, and I said, "Hey, this is the program the University of Colorado is doing. We should bring this here at TCU. This is something we should do for our student workers." And I was able to organically bring together, oh my gosh, HR, Career Services, Office of the Provost, Office of the Chancellor, Neely School of Business. It's continued to grow. Student Affairs, I just added three new people, the TRIO program, our Community Scholars program, our Neely Inclusive Excellence program as well.
I mean, I think that a lot of jaws probably just hit the floor. That just organically, the Assistant Registrar for Training and Professional Development has just all of these folks asking, "Can I have a seat at your table?"
Mhm.
And I'm wondering, just does that kind of, and you're clearly just magnetic. Was your why part of the magnetism? Like, can you just go back
Yeah.
to, so you read
I,
this article and you thought, I want to be doing that. And also maybe just as somebody in the office of the registrar, where we are the stewards of learning records,
mhm.
maybe just, what was the why there for you with the student workers?
I would say the why for me, and I've been in higher ed for 30 plus years, and I've always been student oriented. And I have 8 student workers that I particularly mentor as well. Anytime that I could do something to empower them, that is what drove the passion. And I put people at the table who think the same way. They want to be able to give their students something more than just their day-to-day work duties. And so that's how I sold it. And I was very real about it and very passionate about it. And of course, having you all as a guideline was just amazing. It was amazing.
And so you start talking this up and it just starts to spread organically. This,
It's
I know
spread it.
you've used the word coalition. Does it have a name on campus? Like,
Oh no, yes,
is there an acronym?
so we're still hidden. We haven't even advertised. We are still like a secret organization. I would say we're in the pledging stages. But we called ours TCU Excellence in Career Skills is what we called ours. The team didn't want to put micro-credentialing on it, even though it is a micro-credentialing program. And we focused on the NACE competencies and following along with University of Colorado's, but we did a little different. We built some content to go with it, along with their day-to-day student job duties, along with them taking those skills and utilizing them in the classroom. So our hopes is that they could bring it through all of those different avenues and be able to take something away from it.
And for anybody who's not familiar, NACE is the National Association for Career and Employment, correct?
Yes.
And for anybody who hasn't already heard the big announcement that AACRAO is spearheading along with another dozen organizations, including NACE and LER Accelerator Initiative to, uh, look up AACRAO LER Accelerator Initiative, and we'll get everybody up to speed on that. And the Regina, what when you talk about aligned to the NACE competencies, do you mind just sharing like maybe one
Yes.
or two or three of those
Yes. So
competencies?
we wanted to focus just on the three. That's based on what University of Colorado was doing. They were taking it slow. So we chose professionalism first. We're doing that right now in the fall. In the spring, we'll do communications. And then the next fall, we'll do critical thinking. So we wanted
Mm.
to focus on those top three first, and then we'll go into the other one, career and self-development, leadership, teamwork, technology, equity, and inclusion. We will go through those as well. But professionalism was the one that we felt was very important for our student workers, not
Well,
just for their future career, but their day-to-day operations with us.
well, absolutely, because yeah, no, at the end of the day, if they're answering a phone call or receiving somebody at the front desk, somebody might not know, that they are a student worker or they are a worker, and
Yeah.
this really helps recognize and honor them. I'm curious with those NACE competencies, as you're gathering this coalition of the willing, starting your pledge test together, did those NACE competencies give like just a super accessible common language that actually served as a sort of anchor for the group?
Absolutely. It was like having the foundation already laid. And so all we did was we took the competencies and built up on the competencies. And that's how we built our content based on that foundation. And that was very helpful. It made it easier to build.
I know I'm just picturing, some of the roadblocks we have, right? When we start using interoperability, blockchain,
Yes.
self-sovereign identity, all these sort of technology or buzzwords that are popping up in micro-credentials, or things where, from campus to campus, there's just you hear the term Wild West a lot, right? That this stuff is
Yes.
not all that standardized yet.
Yes.
And
Yes.
where that's a blessing or curse, another conversation, but I think
Right.
that it can definitely slow us down on getting started. And I'm
Yes.
hearing that, they said this isn't about micro-credentials. This isn't about the technology, that across all of these different amazing, who wouldn't want to have that list that you just tallied out of,
I was like,
uh,
it keeps growing. It just grew three the other day. I was like, oh, this is
I
great.
mean, the clouds part, light shines down, and that just a shared vocabulary. I'm just so keyed in on that as a theory of change for successful change management. That as a starting place is almost kind of a magic wand, it sounds like.
Yeah, it was. And we did a lot of we started small with our team this summer and we did a lot of work together. We had a great team. It was great chemistry. We're brainstorming about content, brainstorming about student projects. We brainstormed about evaluations and rubrics. So we did a lot of groundwork in the summer so that we can launch it this fall. But what has happened, because the word is kind of getting out, even though we're hitting, we haven't advertised, we are adding new players to the team, and we're having to catch them up as well. But some of the students have started finishing the projects, and it's been really good. Been really refreshing to see what they've learned so far.
I just love that because so often, when we think of words like leadership, right?
Mhm.
When we think of words like professionalism, we might have, even though, most of the people at the table are probably not college graduates, advanced degrees, and we might have trouble coming to be on the same page of what that means in the school of fill in the blank or the department of fill in the blank or the office of the registrar, office of the provost. And so it sounds almost like having this trusted external standards framework also helped you skip over drama,
Yes,
ego, real estate
yes.
battles of where this belongs or authority, who has the authority.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I think the way I set it up is we created this summer a master shell in our D2L online platform. And from that master shell, we worked with our D2L office, and they met with us, walked the whole team through the process, and then they helped us to help each coalition member have their own particular course, but it's the same content. So I didn't have to copy and paste it. They did it for us.
And it
So,
sounds like you also have almost sort of an affiliate model, so you're not having to take on
no,
everybody else's stuff.
no,
So
everyone
you
takes on
have
their
this
own.
consistency to we
Yes,
are all like this is our earning criteria here, measured,
yes.
aligned with measurements from these national standards frameworks. I love that. Something that you led with this being just by, for, and with students,
Mhm.
at the middle. And before I cut you off with that last piece, you were just sharing that you're coming to a point now where some of your first students are now
Finishing.
completing.
Yeah.
And so, what are the stories you're hearing? What are they
Oh, it's
saying?
amazing. So one story is, so at the end, when they complete the content, first of all, the content consists of articles and short TED Talks, and then they have to do a one-page reflection based on that information, tying it into their job duties. Um, in addition to that, they will do a student project where it could be them creating a PowerPoint or creating an infographic pertaining to professionalism. And so one of my students have gone through it. She's earned her digital badge. And so she had an interview for Fisher Company that she wants to do an internship with. And they asked her, they said, hey, so what do you do in the registrar's office? So she says, I answer the phone, I do scanning, but I also just finished completing a professionalism credential where I've learned this and that and earned my digital badge. So she was able to talk about that in her interview. So
I
that was,
just got goosebumps.
I'm sorry, that was
I just got goosebumps. That was incredible. I mean,
that was
I,
exciting.
well, it is right when we're talking about where does this go, right? That it does not end with creating and issuing credentials. Where
Mm-mm.
this go, the really exciting part is when they get operationalized with what's next, and you out of the gate have a learner who's asked this question and they're ready to answer that, right? When we
Yes.
talk to our
Yes.
colleagues in career services, they'll tell us our learners are leaving equipped for the real world. They're ready for post-secondary success. They don't know how to hear the question that they're being asked in an interview and connect that to their learning achievement.
Wow.
It sounds like one of your student workers, bam, they got it, that this credential can do some of that storytelling and narrating for me.
Yes, and then they have evaluation that they have to complete as well. And the evaluation consists of qualitative and quantitative data, but then I also read the qualitative part and they really talk about it even more. One of my students did on her reflection, what I loved about hers is she tied in what she learned, but she tied it into her coursework in the Neely School of Business, as well as her job duties here at the registrar's office. And I thought that was amazing how she connected all of that with just going through the professionalism module.
And it also sounds like what you're having them that they are not learning about professionalism. What you are credentialing is demonstrations of professionalism. Can we just
Demonstrations, and they
confirm?
are their demonstration and they're learning the articles that we have are really, really talking about this is what professionalism is, this is what it looks like. And then we have a part about professional dress as a student. So they're learning that as well. So we really wanted to make sure that that was in the module.
Yeah, I think that's so great. You're giving them just these opportunities to demonstrate it, and then they have not just a vocabulary to talk about what skills and competencies they're developing, but actual products, it sounds
Right.
like.
Extra products. And you remember, no, when we first got out of college and we had our first job, we didn't know about professionalism or workplace etiquette. We had to learn it on our own. Unless,
You
you know,
speak for yourself
well,
now.
I
I
had a
went to a thrift
mentor.
store and bought a bunch of ties and uh,
I wore the
uh,
suit, but I needed to learn the other workplace etiquette. But I had a mentor that helped walk me through that process. So
I'm wondering just, and I know we're coming up short on time, but are there any other just sort of ahas that as you co-created and developed this and now are offering it with students for students, these student workers, what are there any other things that they're sharing that especially I'm super curious, is there anything that you had a light bulb of something you were doing right without even realizing it? Where you're just like, oh man, thanks for telling me. I'm going to be intentional about that from now on. Or, just any of kind of ahas of as you're doing this, where we're learning from the learners themselves, what the best practices might be in this emerging landscape.
that is a good question. One of the things that popped to my mind was when one of the young students was finishing her evaluation, and some of the questions kind of asked them to assess their own personal professionalism and how it ties into the work duties. And she said that she realized that when she came to work, she would always focus on her homework first before me assigning the actual duties. And that I think that professionalism module helped her to see, wait a minute, this is different. I need to not do that. That's not operating in a real professional manner, putting my work before the job duties. Now they can do their student work, their homework while they're here. That's not a problem, but she just would come in and do her homework and wait until I give her her assignments, but just
No, I think that
really,
goes back to your previous point about, you don't know what you don't know until a mentor, a boss, a supervisor helps you get there. That, unless you grew up in food service, it's not until your first food service job that you learn that water glass goes to the right, right?
yes,
And so
yes.
we can't just look at our student workers and go, can you believe that they come in and start doing that they need to wait to be told what their job is? They're being Yeah, we need to scaffold for them. And I
Yeah.
love that this process is a way of embedding some of those ahas that
Mhm.
they don't have to feel bad about it. Like if they
No,
don't know, they don't know.
they don't know. I mean, but it's been great because just to see that I can just see a change and feel a change in the
Mm.
way they approach their work now. And I'm really blessed. We have really good student workers, but I can even sense another level of excellence.
And another level of excellence, I feel like, is a really great place to to wrap on this for you. That is just, I cannot thank you enough. I thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and I'll be sure to let Ashley and Becky know some of the
Yes,
awesomeness
they
that
are
they inspired
awesome.
with you,
Tell them
and they'll
thank you.
probably want to connect with you to take right back some of the learnings that you're
But
having
that's
as they
fine.
iterate.
I will give it back to them. We are definitely a team in higher education.
Well, Regina, thank you so much for taking the time, and thank you everybody for joining, and have a
Thank,
badge-worthy week.
thank you. You too. Bye bye.